Lack of movement is the #1 health issue in the United States today. The fact that we have gotten so sedentary and we have forgotten that our bodies are designed to move, I think it is the biggest challenge we face as a culture, and that everything is getting easier.
Healthcare, one of the largest industries in the world. By 2030, the healthcare industry is projected to hit close to $7 trillion. Whether we're sick, pregnant, or just wanting a checkup, we rely on the healthcare industry to fix what ails us. And that includes physical therapy. Don't believe us? Well, here's Chris Throckmorton, CEO of Athletico.
So physical therapy is, well, that's a great question. I have to think about that for a minute. So a surgeon can repair a torn ligament, but how do you make sure that you have the right functional ability to get that knee, shoulder, whatever it may be, back to 100%? Exercise is medicine. And one of the things that physical therapy can do for folks is we can keep you out of the hospital.
Let's rock and roll. You ready?
Let's do it.
Can you tell me what Athletico is for someone who wouldn't know?
Sure. Athletico is primarily an outpatient physical therapy clinic. We operate over 900 outpatient physical therapy clinics in 24 states and the District of Columbia. Athletico is actually the 3rd largest outpatient physical therapy platform in the country by the number of locations. We don't need to be the biggest because we're the best. Really what I'm focused on is how many patients can we impact in a positive way and provide an excellent outcome. I don't know if we'll be the #1 in terms of clinic count, but we will be the best in terms of clinical outcomes.
So we're gonna do an assessment on me and my posture.
Yep.
Because it's not very good.
We're gonna try to figure out what is wrong with your posture so we can figure out what's causing you to have discomfort and pain.
And I'm not the only one, because I am in the workforce and I have a laptop and I hunch over.
Right.
I assume that's something that you see a lot?
Yes, in the mirror too. So I do see it a lot. We see it pretty much every day. So all the sitting that we're doing, all the hunching over the computer, all the phone. We now have things like phone neck, which is new for me.
Love that, yeah.
Didn't have that when I was in my 20s. So there are many misconceptions about physical therapy. The nickname is physical torturers. And let me assure you that is not true. Physical therapists are really focused on making you feel better, reducing your pain, reducing your inflammation if it's an acute injury, teaching you how to stretch, teaching you how to move, teaching you how to strengthen. Whatever it is that you want to do, the physical therapist is going to work with you. And while there might be a small tinge of torture in that at times, that is never the intent. And so I think that people are scared of what they don't know. Americans do want instant gratification. They want the easier answer. That is sort of a cultural phenomenon that we have. I think the reality is that people need to embrace the fact that these simple, quick solutions typically don't work. One of the things that we know does work, and that is universally accepted, is appropriate exercise done under the supervision of somebody who knows what they're doing, like a licensed physical therapist. I was licensed physical therapist from 1991 to 2012. Back pain is a huge problem in this country, and we sit all day, we hunch over our computers, we hunch over our phones, we hunch over our cars, and that causes back pain. My favorite thing that patients used to say is, so I bent over to pick up my pencil that I fell on the ground and I threw my back out. And I'm like, no, you didn't. You were doing this to yourself for years. That was just the final straw and your back said, I've had enough, and now I'm gonna make you pay for it.
Could you break down what revenue drivers are for Athletico?
So the revenue drivers for Athletico are the actual clinical services that are administered, that are given, that are provided. The treatment that we do is the majority, if not all, of our revenue, and those treatments are paid predominantly through insurance. And then obviously our on-site innovations is not through medical insurance. That's actually paid by the employer directly in a cost-plus model.
What are some large revenue, expenses for your?
Opening a PT clinic probably costs an average of $250,000, which is expensive, and I don't diminish that, but compared to buying an MRI for $2 million, for example, that's not really the major expense. The expenses are our employees. These are clinicians, they're medically trained and licensed, and then they're really high quality, so that's the majority of what we spend our money on. That's where our expenses are. And Athletico is a community-based organization. We're in your strip mall in your community, or we're in a medical office building, easily accessible to you for everything that you may require. Physical therapy is a medical profession. We train in medical schools. or what they call allied health schools. We work in partnership with physicians in many regards, and we are the experts of musculoskeletal care, and that has been validated through multiple studies. So I think folks sometimes don't understand that we are truly part of the healthcare delivery model. I would also go on to say that in the outpatient environment, we are on the right side of the cost curve. So the physical therapy care is actually quite inexpensive in terms of other types of care, extremely effective for most folks that are suffering with whether it be falling, whether it be injury, whether it be recovering from surgery. And we are critical to making sure that you have a full recovery. If we do our job well, we won't see you because we've done a great job and taught you how to take care of yourself, how to exercise, how to move. I think that's really critical for people to understand that the role of the physical therapist is to really keep you moving throughout your entire life, which improves your quality of life and gives you the ability to live a fuller, richer life.
What's your ultimate vision?
My ultimate vision is to be the best physical therapy company in the country. In addition, I want to be the #1 place that clinicians want to work, want to come, want to grow, and want to stay. And while I recognize that that's not really how the world is typically working today, I think if I could get folks that come and join us right out of physical therapy school and then retire, after they had the opportunity to grow, become better clinicians, do different types of services, provide different deliveries, hopefully move around the country to wherever they would like to be with their family, then I think I will have done a phenomenal job and be extremely proud of what we've built. I think the proudest moment for me was when Pivot sold to Athletico. So when I joined Pivot, the company wasn't doing well, but it had wonderful people and amazing clinicians. And when I went there, I looked and I said, these are unbelievable clinics. They're phenomenal, passionate people. And when we sold to Athletico, we took a really clinically excellent company and merged it into a really clinically excellent company, and that was super exciting. And now the folks that worked with me at Pivot, the majority of them are working with Athletico, and they have significantly more opportunities to grow, do different things, move to different parts of the country. That's definitely the proudest moment.
Who are you most thankful for in your career? You've mentioned your wife a couple times. You know, I know you said you have 5 kids.
If I'm being honest, my parents are amazing. My father was a career Army officer, and he passed away about 1.5 years ago. And you know, he was, as he told me one time at 17 when I was trying to get a scholarship and sitting there about to open a letter to see if I got it, you know, he said, you know, your mother and I are gonna love you no matter what, so go for it.
All right, so I'm gonna do 3 yes or no questions. You ready? Cryptocurrency and/or blockchain will be integrated in your industry within the next 5 years.
No.
Virtual reality will be integrated in your industry within the next 5 years.
Yes and no. We have a little virtual reality already in some of the research that we're doing on like balance and gait and things like that. But probably not in the next 3 to 5 years.
Artificial intelligence will be integrated.
Same answer as virtual reality. We have artificial intelligence being integrated into some of the functions that we perform, but it's not an everyday occurrence.
Okay. God himself came to you and you said, can't do physical therapy anymore, can't be the Athletico CEO. You need to choose a different industry. What do you choose?
That's hard for me because I'm a healthcare guy and I believe in the power of healthcare, but if I had to choose a different industry, I think it would probably be restaurant. It would be something where I can serve people, and that's important to me.
You're on death row. What's your last meal?
My wife's spaghetti.
That's a nice answer. What'd you want to be when you were growing up?
I wanted to be a doctor.
What book or something that you've read that you would recommend to other entrepreneurs?
Death by Meeting by Lencioni is my favorite book. I think we spend too much time in corporate America in meetings, and having 50 people sit in a meeting for multiple hours is, to me, probably the worst form of torture on the planet.
What are some of your outside hobbies?
I'm a big tennis player. I used to play soccer, but my knees won't tolerate that anymore. And I'm also a golfer.
I'm giving you the ability to teleport anywhere in the world for like a vacation with your wife. Where do you go?
Amalfi Coast.
Best answer, I'm Italian.
Are you Italian?
Yeah.
She is too.
What's your leadership style if you had to describe it yourself?
I think my leadership style is transparent and direct. I like to make sure that folks are very clear on where I stand and what I am looking for, and hopefully that facilitates them the opportunity to be very direct and very open with me in return. I look for passion. I am a big proponent of passion. I think passionate people can accomplish anything. I believe people can learn how to do any particular job, but you cannot teach somebody how to be passionate about what they do. I think one thing people don't realize about being CEO is that you are ultimately responsible for so many people's livelihood their progression in their career, the opportunities and the challenges that they face on a personal level, not just on a business level. And that responsibility is pretty heavy at times, and you oversee a lot of folks, and all of them are going through things in their lifetime, and sometimes that can be really difficult. If I feel like I'm not ready to make that decision and that decision is just not sitting well, I won't do it anymore. And that's probably been the best lesson I've learned in my role, which is full of ambiguity. There are no right answers, or as I like to say, the right answers show themselves much longer past when the decision was made when you look back. But you still make a lot of decisions without complete information and knowing what the right thing to do is. So I try to make sure that it feels right, it sits right, and it's the right, and then I know it's probably the right decision. The best stress reliever I have is hitting a tennis ball as hard as I can with people that are hitting it back at me, so that's my #1 stress reliever.
Well, I loved talking with you. This is right up my alley and what I'm interested in, so really appreciate your time. Appreciate Athletico, so thanks so much, Chris.
Thank you so much, appreciate it, Will.
Yeah. Cool, we're done.